Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Karim Yunus. I'll be arguing for the Commission, the applicant.
The above principle is generally valid in international proceedings, but is particularly applicable in human rights cases, such as this one, Your Excellency.
It is safe to say that the complainant did not meet up with Article 56, paragraph 4, and Article 56, paragraph 5 of the African Charter.
We will be speaking for approximately 15 minutes each.
Nous en sommes offusqués, nous en sommes médusés que des êtres humains soient traités comme des objets.
These cases can be had before this court as not as binding but of a persuasive nature, Your Excellencies.
How do we protect the dignity of refugees, of children, of the LGBTI community? So I think these are the kind of issues that we need to highlight.
I like the question that was raised of who determines when a person is not a refugee, because you may be denied status, but you deem yourself to be requiring of protection.
But it's also the impact these issues of refugees. Now it's the impact it has on internal politics and the rise the populism and all this kind of things. So
again, this mood is also educative. We can't just keep quiet or not say a thing when we see the predicament that people who are forced to flee their countries find themselves in. Who knows, maybe one of those children may just be the son or daughter of a president.
Who doesn't want to leave power?
That's right. Yes.
So, the team that will be representing us in Botswana this year shall be Kajina Daniela Mushikazi and Pata Jerome Okwade.
Congratulations to Mpata, congratulations to Daniela. There is no more sleeping for you. You have to make sure you get it right. We must defend the title in Botswana.
We need to know our facts. So that means we need to know the Moot problem inside out. So the first thing is Bentaria is a small landlocked country in southern Africa. It is bordered on the east by the Republic of Zabalia, Zambia. And on the southwest by the Republic of Peradilla. Okay, this is a score sheet. You can see they are key on case knowledge. Strength of argumentation.
This can be worked on. This is a personal thing. And conviction. I don't know how much passion you can put into your voice.
No, but this I think
it sounds flat sometimes.
So which issues were you more passionate about arguing?
Children. I think I want to do children very much. And the refugees. And then LGBT.
So I'll do the jurisdiction, I'll do admissibility, and then issue one on the enforced disappearance. Okay.
I've won 3 Best Oralist awards over the years. From the beginning, it wasn't always like that. The first Moot I did, I couldn't get 5 words out. I didn't even think I lasted 5 minutes on the podium because the judge kept asking me questions and I was nervous. But if you don't feel nervous, then I don't think you're human. So I just channel all that energy into furious preparation. I think we can make a change anywhere we are with whatever we have. Right from childhood, I've been told, go for the stars, do whatever you want, dream as far as you want.
There was 5 of us, 5 children. My mom, she was 34 when she lost her husband. So she had some tough choices to make. She decided that I would be a pharmacist. It didn't matter what you wanted to study. So I applied for pharmacy. And when I got the degree, I told my mother, here is what you sent me for. Can I do what I want now? And then she said, well, thank you for giving it to me, so you might as well. And that's how I decided on doing law.
Africa has more than 26% of the world's refugee population. It hosts an estimated 30 million refugees, asylum seekers, and displaced persons, a number which last year alone increased by over 2 million people.
It is not immediately clear when the camps will finally be shut down, but the ministry says it has already disbanded the Department of Refugees Affairs as a first step.
But with ongoing conflicts, climate change, and economic hardship, the issue remains unresolved.
We wish you all the best in your preparation going forward. You have the heavy task that each and every team always has, that University of Nairobi is a leading school in Moot. If you come back and you're not in top 2, remember you have failed. We're always number 1 or number 2.
I am very delighted to participate in the All Africa Moot, and this is my 3rd Moot, and I do expect to be challenged. We also hope that we hope that it goes as planned. Yes.
You in drama club?
I was in drama.
No wonder when you moved, you decided to be dramatic.
I never said that.
I never said that.
I met Amor in the Moot court room, and I thought, okay, she's smart, I'm funny. What a perfect combination. So I thought that we would work well together, and we have worked well together.
There is the internal rounds, then they choose a team that will represent the university.
They've given you a visa already or not yet?
Not yet.
Have you applied?
You can fast track, so you go write like a letter or an email or something explaining your situation, and then they'll fast track it for you.
It's like that.
And then
Not much work, they be so hard, and it is so intense. That's why you're getting time to go to all these moods.
No! That's like a weird.
Oh.
It's free tickets.
There's no time.
For some particular reason, Moot attracts very few people. It was of specific people who would come for the training. You know, I feel like it's more of a calling. So specific people are called and drawn to it.
This is actually nice.
You want it?
Yes, I think I'll get this.
It tends to become a friendship at the end of it. So I think that's how me and Rachel, we became close. As partners, we have to like stay together. So this mood is about migrants who are coming from a war-torn country. The question is there a degree of measure of war that now makes you be termed as a refugee, and one which makes you not get termed as a refugee?
Yeah, the aspect of well-founded, I think, is very
well-founded.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I want to put a test on the threshold for war, threshold for civil war. It's the definition within the Refugee Convention. It's just me and you running away based on well-founded fear that our lives are in danger or we've been threatened. No? You don't agree with me?
I agree with you.
Yeah. And in fact, for a country like Kenya, you should be the last ones trying to throw away refugees. So a country that has potential threats for conflict that is going to exacerbate and get to other levels, you also need to anticipate the rain. When do we also seek asylum?
Where do you think we should have? Idea here on campus is here, like, an amphitheater, but I always want something that will accommodate like 200.
200.
Yeah.
No, maybe then where we are going, the conference center, where we are going.
This is perfect, even the setting. Yeah. Let's see, it has the screen. We're going to need like, the booths, for interpreters. No, this is beautiful.
When will we know how many teams will be participating?
I'll say work with 60.
With 60?
Yeah, I wasn't really very much, worried. The thing is that the Moot always takes place.
That file must be sitting here. Okay. Whatever is needed, you quickly jump to the ICPR if they ask about that. You quickly, so you're his right hand, and you're his right hand. What are you using your laptops for?
This is just like some outline. We're millennials. We need our laptops.
Well, we're having this conversation. Ed, get up. Okay.
Good afternoon, Your Excellency. My name's Edward Mogeri-Sekawabe. I will begin by discussing the treatment of the people who fled from Paradilla to Bentaria. May it please the court, I'll now proceed to consider the jurisdiction of the court in this matter.
Okay, let's stop there. You obviously have like signs of nervousness.
Okay.
Yeah, that you do. So this.
Is that me?
That's you. Did you see it? It's a little bit distractive. So you need to be very crisp. Like each sentence must make a punch. And then you must move on.
I'd never considered my mother to be a refugee until I studied refugee law and realized that my mother ticks all of the boxes. Her father was considered to be hostile to Idi Amin. Their property was seized. Their life was in danger. The only way to keep the family safe was to move from Uganda. Uganda is known for its harsh anti-gay policies. I generally tend to take out my piercings when I travel around Africa because they're considered to be a mark of being in the LGBTI community. I'm not sure exactly what the situation is in Botswana, but I'm not feeling concerned. Kali Bozozo is an LGBTI activist from Paradilla. When in Bentaria, Bozozo found out that his house was raided in search of him. Application for refugee status is denied, and charges were laid against him as well.
So we are students of law from Makerere University.
Yes.
And we are about to engage in a role play of a courtroom situation.
When you came straight to Kampala?
Straight to Kampala. Did you voluntarily leave or you were forced to leave?
Things were becoming really bad because my closer neighbors could be killed. At a certain point, the houses around me were all burnt and only mine was standing. And I was so frightened, I said, no, I cannot continue to stay with my family in such a situation. That's why I pleaded with a friend who was in the UK
to help me leave South Sudan to come over.
So because of the insecurity and that they killed the husband, that's the reason it's what her to make her to flee DRC.
Oh, sorry about that.
Watoto walifika Uganda niliwakutanaka Mungu tukanisaidia nikawakutanisha biko nahangaika msoko. Nilikuwa niko natembea msoko ya Winu, nikawaona. Nikasema mko hapa si ndio tuko tunakutafuta mama. Kwa juu tuliachanaka kila mtu kujiseparate, tulikuwa tu tunakimbia mlivyo ya Goma kwa malijua nje ya mwingine.
She just picked them
and took them home
to where she was.
How long were they separated for?
2 years.
Even though they're hypothetical cases, you should look at it as real cases with real clients who you're representing, and you really don't want to fail your clients, so you really need to up your game.
I have a friend who keeps saying, we should all understand that we are potential refugees. You don't know what's going to happen to your security tomorrow. You don't know what's going to happen to your home country. Know what you're going to need the next day.
Over this last December holiday, my mother started speaking about the refugee experience in further detail. She has decided that she wants to come watch the competition. So the competition may be the first time she gets a glimpse of what I've been studying for the last few years or so.
May I have your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen? Air Botswana, flight B0302 to Bangladesh now, for boarding. Air Botswana, can I provide your documents and boarding passes so that for verification you can to gate number 5.
Hey, how are you doing? Hey. Hello. Hey, how are you?
Welcome.
I didn't get the name.
Quentin.
Quentin, hey, Quentin,
Yes.
how are you doing?
Welcome.
Hi.
Yeah.
So we have 2 teams.
I'm tired and I want to eat. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you pay? You didn't pay.
No, I didn't pay. Just get a stamp. Yeah. I told you, no one wants your passport.
It's a shame. Not very Pan-Africanist.
From Makerere.
Yeah.
From Nigeria.
What's your name?
Ayo.
So have you guys come to take the trophy?
If you take it, we take it. If you don't take it, you don't take it. No worries. How about you? Divide by 10 to get dollars. So it's $20. This is $20?
You guys are having a different side of the road, right? I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that's... It's like South Africa.
Attention everyone. Hi everyone, we have arrived. This is Las Vegas. This is where you'll be staying. If you have any questions.
Now we're here and it's real. The biggest part of it for me is African students coming together to discuss these issues. Because much as we come from different African countries, the African context is quite similar in very many ways. Putting our minds against the best minds in Africa would really be interesting to see how we measure up.
I didn't sleep the whole night, like 24 hours. I was just busy typing. By the time I was done, my back was like killing me. But in the end, here we are in Botswana.
Yes.
Hi, which university?
Makerere.
Your team will be designated to appear twice tomorrow as applicant and respondent, and twice on Wednesday as applicant and respondent. So just to clarify, there will be simultaneous rounds in English, French, and in Portuguese. The judges should not be really scoring the winning argument. It is how well the students, the participants, make the points that are possible to make. So don't feel that when you are being questioned, that you are being put on the spot and you are being interrupted. No, your opportunity to shine is when you are being asked questions. Thank you. Another question there.
Yeah, you showed us criteria for the judges for award marks. And the last one was unacceptable behavior. But how about on our side, if the judge's behavior is unacceptable? If I perceive the comment as personally racist, or if I perceive it as sexist or homophobic, what recourse is there for me?
Yeah, I think the rules are indicative. Anything that disrupts the good running of the competition and the spirit of the competition should be addressed. So if there's a judge that is totally out of sync with the others, that mark is rejected.
Hey, I'm curious. Sorry for my ignorance. What's that flag?
This is the Pan-African flag. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So it's everyone's. It's technically it should be.
Yeah. Where are you guys from?
Malawi.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
You?
We're from Egypt.
Oh, okay.
I'm from the Netherlands, but I live in Egypt.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are a lot of restrictions on the freedom of movement. She didn't have to get used.
We'll change it.
Yeah, we're the lawyers.
Yeah.
We just have to.
Full of ideas. I don't think we should be restricted movement in the continent. To be able to move is to be able to understand other people, and if you understand them, you understand they're not really that different, and that just solves a lot of problems for us, you know.
The first declaration of human rights was done by the Prophet Muhammad in his last sermon in Mount Arafah, according to him.
My understanding of Sharia and Islam is compatible with human rights. That's my personal belief. A lot of people would disagree, a lot of people would agree, but that's what we're here for, you know what I mean? Like it's
That's it, my friend. That's the truth. The issue, the problem is the politics they are putting into these things. That's the main problem.
We can use that Kenyan case, but I'm scared of using
What
the
is it?
Kenyan case.
Just say the name.
The Mary in... You sure we should use that Kenyan case?
It's okay.
They will start judging us based on the fact that we are Kenyan.
But how will they know
And if it's some non-Kenyan judge, they might judge us harsh. Okay, fine. I will use that Kenyan case.
Let's use the Botswana case. It was also stated in Attorney General versus Unity Dow. That same principle. Which principle?
Rachel is more open, more engaging. I am the quiet person. The mood has really made us become even more friends, you know.
Je m'appelle Edouard.
Je m'appelle Edouard.
So no de.
No.
Je m'appelle
Edouard. You're talking French.
I do think that African identity is a source of celebration and pride, and I'm quite excited about students from all over the continent gathering together to get to know one another.
Since we are the new generation, we don't know a lot about culture, but I'm still holding on to this little thing that I have. We call this the Shibelani. It's worn by Tonga people.
This is called Wilkie or Gunti. And you can call this one as Imu or Injure.
This is a batakari. It was worn by the people from the northern regions of Ghana.
There's no deep backstory to it, really. I just thought it was nice. So that's why I got this dress made.
In the 17th, 18th century, Europeans started coming to Africa. So what I'm wearing is a colonial outfit over here. It's a pair of jeans and a jersey.
defenders of human rights, students of human rights, researchers in the area of human rights, teachers of human rights, practitioners of human rights, good evening. I want to congratulate everybody who's here. You are here because a certain process took place that selected you. So you already won by being here. So by being here, your thoughts and your ideas, your interactions, your views will be imparted and other people will listen to you. So for that, we thank you because you're influencing other people's thoughts. You may take a path away from human rights law, but I can assure you that the lessons from here, the views from here, will always influence how you look at life later in the future. With those words, ladies and gentlemen, I say congratulations, and may the best team win. May the best team win. Thank you very much.
If it's exit, means it's export day. Okay. All right. You're welcome.
We will try our best.
It'll be fine.
8:30 in the morning. Can you imagine that? No. It's inhumane.
8:30 in the morning.
Which is that? Like Tuesday? No, we don't have any other one. We don't have another one.
Compared to other teams, I don't think we have any advantage.
We haven't yet known.
We don't know any. We haven't. This is going to be our first round. We should gauge the situation. So right now, we haven't done any round. We haven't seen anybody, so we can't tell. Everybody looks pretty prepared.
I can bet you they'll all be eaten alive inside. I know it.
Are you guys ready? Courtroom F, last one right. Okay, perfect. All the best.
It's just human to allow somebody who has been forced to leave their home, probably lost their life as they know it, lost some members of their family, to let them have a chance. If you're a refugee, then you will become entitled to some protection and some relief, but most governments are reluctant to term you a refugee.
All the best. Thank you.
All rise. The African Court on Human and People's Rights is now in session in the matter between Leave Us Alone and the Republic of Bentaria.
Your Excellencies, we come before this court specifically because of the conduct of the respondent state. Your Excellencies, it was here in Botswana that Saseret Sekama said, human dignity like justice and freedom is the common heritage of all men. It is indivisible. We are dealing with questions of human dignity. We are dealing with persons being persecuted for voicing their political opinions, Your Excellency. We contend that the respondent state of Bentaria has abrogated the same rights that it assumed to protect.
Thank you very much.
Your Excellencies, I'll now proceed to the issue of the children. The detention of children, first and foremost, should be a measure of last resort. But even if they could not find their parents, Article 23 of the African Children's Charter, which requires states to find out if there's any other nation that can take up these children or is responsible for these children. Therefore, even if they cannot find their parents, they are still obligated to determine what their nationality is, and as a result, they're supposed to give them such protection and accord them the protection of their state.
We're going in.
Since August 2017, Bertha experienced a lot of political unrest, disappearances, executions. This led to many people fleeing Paradilla. However, they were not granted the right to seek asylum. They were rounded up and straight away returned back to the territory where their life would be in danger. This does not only violate the right to seek asylum, it also violates the right to be protected from refoulement as well as mass deportation. It constitutes a violation of Article 12 of the African Charter. Therefore, it is a violation of their rights.
I'm a bit nerve-wracked. You see your baby there. Your life might end up, messing up and all that. Just like every other mother, you get a little bit, unnecessarily anxious.
It is submitted that the Paradillan asylum seekers are refugees in terms of the OAU Refugee Convention, particularly in terms of Article 1.2 of that convention, which provides that refugee status may be granted on the basis that an individual is fleeing a country or part thereof where there's a serious disturbance of public order.
I feel great, but then at the same time, I don't want to pile pressure on myself, because if I think about it in the aspect that the whole nation is looking at me or depending on me, it will pile up too much pressure. Now, Your Excellencies, the question before this court is, who is a refugee? There have been killings of persons, instances of enforced disappearance in Paradilla, police harassment of ethnic minority groups.
If I may stop you there, you're correct that these things did take place in Paradilla. However, by the time the 1,350 people fled from Paradilla, these things had ceased to occur. So how can they still seek protection from something that is no longer going on?
Yes, Your Excellencies, I actually get your point. And indeed, that is right, that they had largely seized, Your Excellencies. However, Your Excellencies, let us look at the statement that was made by the insurgent group, in which they have stated, Your Excellencies, they shall not stop the violence until the power is theirs.
Now, are they not just using the political disturbance as an excuse within the guise of economic crisis in their country to seek asylum?
I really don't think that is so, Your Excellencies, because there was political violence, which has largely ceased, but it's still in existence. Now, maybe your issue will be now, should they be allowed to come into Bentaria, all of them? Then they can call upon other states to assist them, Your Excellencies, in containing the refugees.
All right.
Thank you very much.
In the Gambia, I am a social justice advocate, and I advocate for women's rights, getting victims of different circumstances, be it albinism, be it child marriage, be it FGM. I give them to companies who would adopt them, and these companies would pay for their school fees and other expenses.
I know people doing some great things, and the level of funding they are getting is amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
Going by your attire, you are a practicing Muslim, right? Would you be a fourth wife?
I would.
You would be. You have no problem with that.
Maybe I'm more okay with that because I'm from a polygamous family. Women know their right and they know their stance. And they know that men cannot treat them like trash. I'm okay, number one. I don't mind if I have number two. But to be quite candid, I love my husband to have just me. Yeah.
Are you the one who asked the question yesterday about judges and if they're sexist?
That would be me, yes.
Oh my God, I need to follow you. Like, you challenged me. I was like, wow, you asked a good question. Not a lot of people have the guts to do that. So, well done so far.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll see you guys, hey?
Sometimes you argue against positions that are contrary to what you believe in. But if you really want to be convinced about your beliefs, the first place you should start is to question them.
Your Excellencies, I don't propose that the court stands a blind eye to the evidence. I propose that this court is guided by Article 26 of the protocol that establishes it and makes a finding that is based on evidence, Your Excellency.
Paragraph 5 of the facts indicates that Paradilla and Bentaria still maintained a closed border, Your Excellencies. The people who fled from those countries without satisfying the objective criteria are therefore supposed to have a visa giving them clear permission to enter the state of Bentaria. Bentaria realizes it has obligations under the OAU Refugee Convention, but Your Excellencies, they moved from Peradilla into Zabalia, where they could have easily been afforded that protection as asylum seekers. They left that such protection and then proceeded to Bentaria, Your Excellency.
We're defending children abusers, and the fact that this has been happening all over the world, so it's a bit emotional for everyone. So, are you defending children who are, facing horrors? Are you really doing that? But again, that's what lawyers do, I guess. Right.
How do you respond to submission by the applicant that the respondent has violated African Charter by not separating children from adults in the detention center?
This is an extreme situation whereby we had to act immediately and based on the current resources we have. We extremely regret that situation. But again, we were protecting them from they were essentially, these children are a victim. So our actions had the right to life, the actual right to life, not to die on the streets, by taking them into custody.
Your Excellencies, these children had the right to food as provided for under Article 14 of the Maputo Protocol. They had the right to health, which is provided for under Article 16 of the African Charter, Your Excellencies. The right to education, they had a basic library, Your Excellencies, where they could indeed study. These children, they were treated well, Your Excellencies.
They were treated well?
They were, rather, I retract that statement, they were treated within the permissibility of the law. Thank you, Your Excellencies.
I was nervous because it's not about reading it, it's about being able to answer the question.
You're really good. You know your stuff. Humbly submitted.
Well done. I think for a first go, this was remarkable. Wishing you all the best in your future matches.
I stopped smoking and now I'm just going through half my cigarettes and it's terrible and I feel I'm going to go back to smoking.
We had this judge who had black sunglasses. Black. You couldn't see in the court.
Sometimes I can see that they're not buying my argument, but I still continue as if everything's fine.
Hi, how are you? How did it go?
It went okay. Are you going to have dinner, right?
Yeah.
I'll come to your table. Let me just finish this.
Okay.
He attracts attention, female attention. He has fans. He basks in it.
Attention generally, but not feminine attention.
How are you? How did it go?
People say that I come off as cold and reserved, but I'm not.
We need to go back to the facts.
I'm shy sometimes.
Are you listening?
I'm usually hard on myself. I usually take compliments reluctantly.
Met some people who are totally. That's feedback I've got. This is yours to lose or yours to win. Yeah.
I'm reluctant to be cocky. I feel it, but then I don't want to say it because things could go different.
That cat was eating my books.
My mom she didn't have a lot of money going around, so she decided what she studied based on her perception of the world and what skills she thought was easily marketable as compared to others. So she thought there was too many lawyers in Uganda, whereas there were only, I think at the time, there were about 300 pharmacists. Looking back, I think she had a point, because I don't know if I would have managed to do this at all if I didn't have a profession and a job that would sustain me and my family.
If
if you believe what you're saying is right, then it's right, regardless of whether they think it's right or not.
So long as you keep a straight face.
I was asked-
They ask not because they know, but because they want to know if you
What happens if I gave the wrong facts and he knew that
I
case?
tried to quote the Botswana decision, and then the judge came right back at me with the Kenyan decision. And then I was like, the occasion of the moment, Your Excellency, we're in Botswana. So let geography play a role in this.
Wow, I'm so nervous. Yeah, I am. More than yesterday, which is very weird. How is it that cold? Wow. By the time we're leaving this place, we will have monkey looking.
So you're not vegetarian at the moment?
Even had chicken for lunch. It's a good experience. I'm not convinced that I want to be an advocate.
But what I didn't understand is that so it's one case, everybody's doing the same case.
Yeah, everybody did the same case. And then to make it even more fair, you have to do both sides
Both
of
sides.
it.
You have a lot to answer.
Yeah. The emotions when I think about refugee issues mainly comes from my mother's experience. At the same time, there is a narrative that LGBTI individuals do not deserve rights because they are un-African. May it please the court, I would like to consider the rejection of Bozozo's refugee application. Courts have found that mere membership of a particular social group can constitute sufficient grounds upon which may establish a well-founded fear of persecution, especially when one is in a country where individuals are harassed, violated, persecuted on such ground. The African Commission in 2015 released a general comment, and it was stated that sexual orientation should be seen as, stated that homophobia is something which is, excuse me, can I refer to my notes in the comment so I can give a better answer, Your Excellency? Sure.
Back at home, his home was raided, he was being targeted, but you're saying that the police were merely searching his home. How does that not form part of persecution?
This is the only thing that happened, and if there's one thing happened, we cannot constitute that as persecution.
From which legal authority were you relying on?
Sorry. I do not have these facts in front of me at the moment, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It is clear that on the continent, it's only Botswana and South Africa that have decriminalized same-sex relationships. At the same time, the respondent state quoted African values as the rationale behind not decriminalizing same-sex relationships.
Much obliged. The mandate of this court is to uphold the human rights that are enshrined in the African Charter. That is where this court comes in and holds a set of Bentaria accountable for having a flawed system that discriminates against people on their sexual orientation. And Your Excellencies, that is the argument of the applicants, that the system was already flawed against Kali Bozozo. He never stood a chance in this application process, and whereas this has already been done to him,
Thank you very
the
much.
system should be changed to be able to.
All right.
Thank you very much.
I just want to send the court first.
Sorry,
Oh, no, don't worry. Let me use this one.
I think we arrive at an important moment. We announce the 6 teams that go to the final. We will draw lots, whether they appear for the applicant or the respondent. The best Lusophone team is Universidade de Zambeze. La meilleure équipe francophone est l'Université Félix Houphouët-Boigny de Côte d'Ivoire. The best 4 Anglophone teams to advance to the final round. In the first place, no, alphabetically first, Makerere University, Uganda. Then, where's my alphabet now? University of Nairobi. University of Namibia. Lastly, University of Pretoria.
Qualify to the final. Ambia mamebio.
I am happy, but then this is another challenge now, because now we have to form a new team, divide roles again, work together again. It's a whole new ball game.
I think the marks were fair. But it like hits you at like, it makes you feel so bad, like hurts my feelings when I see the bad marks.
Both came into my court. You guys are amazing, you've got a talent. Keep it up, hey?
I don't even know what to say. Yeah, I'm still shocked.
Most of the students, apparently they were late for breakfast. That's why they are coming in just now. Good morning. Good morning. Let's may we kindly settle down so that we may start.
How hard did you work to be born in your country? You just happened to be born in that territory, in boundaries that were drawn by people whom you don't know, who probably were not even from Africa. I'm not saying don't be proud to be wherever you come from. Be proud, but that can't be a reason why you have certain attitudes against your fellow Africans.
Why is it that we as Africans, we have this notion that we can become this continent that has no borders and we can live together, but there is a limitation. There's always just a limitation. If it comes to employment, we're brothers and sisters, but to this extent, you can't do this. If it comes to this, you can't do this. If it comes to marriage, sorry, yeah. Thank you.
When you're a foreigner in most African countries, you need a permit. And I know the AU has an agenda of Pan-Africanism, but how will that be achieved when we have very tight borders?
Do I want open borders in Africa? I hope for them. Are they possible at the very moment? I will say it will be difficult. Why? Because the economic conditions of African countries are that different.
The first and perhaps the obvious point that I want to make is that over the developments that have taken place in the last few decades, we have seen that there's a widespread acceptance and recognition of LGBTI persons seeking refugee status. But we also see at the same time that despite the gains that have been made, there is contention between what the law envisages on the one hand and the lived realities of the LGBTI persons on the other.
Thank you very much. My name is Neru Mokobule from River State University, Port Harcourt, Nigeria. I'm worried about our adoption of international norms and rules and principles that do not reflect the values of Africa. Speaking as an African, I know that LGBT is not accepted in most African countries. That's a rule. And we need to be very, very careful. If you remember what happened in Malawi, the Monjeza case. Now, these are two young men. They said they got married in a hotel, two men, and then they were arrested and convicted. Now, after the conviction, there were a lot of pressures on the Malawian government. Now, what the government eventually did was to say, okay, I pardon you. Now, these young men were pardoned. They came out, and they could not even go back to their families. So I think it's a situation where we have to deal with this matter incrementally. I think that the time is not yet right. Well, in academic writings, yes, we might argue, from the human rights perspective, look, don't discriminate. But for now, yes, we have to be very, very careful how we advocate these rights in our various African countries. Thank you very much.
Can we have the next intervention?
Martin Luther said that it's never late to do what is right. We cannot refuse a right to anyone. Being a gay or homosexual, it's not a disease. I am hurt when I hear things like that, because this are old way of thinking. Oh God. We cannot translate him. He's shouting. He's overwhelmed.
Thank you very much for the questions. I think the one is a question, the other is a comment. There is a generational aspect to this whole argument, but I think that also speaks a lot about that the value systems on the African continent will always not merge, that there will always be differences because of our geography.
Edward, is feeling a bit off. And because we were serving lunch and Edward wasn't there for lunch, so I just came to drop some food off, for Edward.
I left the conference hearing anti-gay words like that being supported and applauded at a human rights conference. It's extremely upsetting for me. It's extremely scary. It makes me feel if something were to happen to me, perhaps people would not be as empathetic because of my sexual orientation.
When it comes to human rights law, you look from the outside and it's a great world where it's governed by order and it's structured and it's never wrong in a sense, but then you try to examine it and how it's applied to people's lives and you realize, no, actually, it's not that empowering in many cases. You have to work for it to become empowering.
How strong is the state's power to commit the state? Like, what do we have? Do you guys think we have any power to commit and make any promises before the court?
We do.
Good. The rationale for exhausting local remedies is to bring the violations to the attention of the state.
I agree with you.
It becomes African.
The youth in Africa, it's a very big population. It's an educated population. Our generation has not experienced colonialism. We grew up in the age where diseases were being managed. So what we choose to do and what we choose to say will be very important for our future as Africans.
You get what I mean now?
Where are you getting that from, that no Peradilla?
Let me give an example of Kenya, because in that camp, the Dadaab camp, there are a lot of people from Uganda, Rwanda, Burundi.
So I think it's hopeful, but also it's a very big responsibility that if we wasted, then we would really be dooming the future of the African continent.
We really had problems growing up. The money was not enough. My mom always kept on telling me that even if you don't have enough money, you're bright enough. I want you to go back to school and I want you to beat the students.
It feels good to win, of course. It's human nature. We're competitive, and it's a competitive, kind of like a sport. Well, I think there is fatigue from the whole refugee question, but also we can't afford to get tired because it's a human question. Like you have to put a human face to this whole refugee debate.
Paragraph 50 clearly shows
Projection is important.
Projection of confidence? That's a male thing.
It's not a male thing, it's a human thing. The bus is actually there.
So no breakfast?
Finalists, are we all here?
Yes.
We are here. Is anybody missing from any of the teams? All right. Now, the ones I care about at this moment.
On Tuesday, I didn't feel like I did it well. And then Rachel and I had an argument about it. You know, friends have issues. Sometimes you argue, sometimes you're okay. I was shocked to realize that we were in the finals and I was actually the best rollist. And then this is not even true.
They are lying to us so that we can read the wrong things. That is not what they are going to argue. I know that team, they can't be having such weak arguments. This is a lie. I know. Anyway, it's past. Let's focus on what is happening in the next 30 minutes.
Applicant team consisting of 3 teams from the preliminary rounds, the University of Nairobi, the University of Namibia, and the Université Félix Houphouët-Boigny de Cocody in Côte d'Ivoire. The respondent team was consisting of Universidade Zambeze in Mozambique, Makerere University, and University of Pretoria students.
All rise.
The African Court on Human and People's Rights is now in session in the matter between Leave Us Alone and the Republic of Bentaria. The Honorable Chief Justice Terence Ranwani presiding.
I take it that we are ready to proceed now. I will start with the applicant. Are the parties ready? You may proceed, Mariam.
Mr. President, Your Excellencies, may it please this court. As stated, my name is Aska Judith Amor, and I shall delve with the issue of the persons who fled from Paradilia to Bentaria. Now, Your Excellencies, the applicants admit that firstly, these persons are indeed refugees, and that secondly, therefore, Bentaria is obligated to provide them the necessary refugee rights in line with the OAU Refugee Convention of 1969. Your Excellencies, there have been, firstly, mass executions, secondly, claims of enforced disappearance, and thirdly, Your Excellencies, police harassment of individuals in Paradilia. And Your Excellencies, and that therefore creates the circumstance of events seriously disturbing public order within Paradilia. Now we do.
Let me interject there. According to your submissions, the facts are gathered from newspapers and also those who are grieved by the electoral process in that country. Would they really be justified to seek asylum? Because you could actually maybe say that they are just running away from the obvious, that their candidate is not as famous as they purport him to be in their own country. So why should they burden the state of Bentaria?
This persecution is just not only based on the persons who have been aggrieved based on the election results. It is violence that is happening in the country at whole, Your Excellencies. And with that, we ask this court to therefore grant these persons refugee status, Your Excellencies, and to allow them, Your Excellencies, within Bentaria until to that point where the violence in Paradilia will cease, Your Excellencies. With that, I notice that my time is up, and I shall yield the floor to my co-counsel. Thank you, Your Excellencies.
Thank you, Senior Counsel.
Et le phénomène des réfugiés est un phénomène transnational qui engage à la fois la responsabilité des États. S'agissant des Péradiliens, la partie adverse prétend que Bentaria n'a pas de ressources nécessaires pour accueillir les Péradiliens. Mais Bentaria n'a fait que refouler ces Péradiliens, les exposant à des risques de mort, à des risques de viol pour les femmes, honorables juges. Il s'agit là de la violation manifeste des droits des réfugiés.
Merci. Now, I will invite the respondents to open their own cases.
Não se pode falar em momento algum que ocorreu desaparecimento forçado, pelo que não está provado relativamente à existência ou participação por parte do Estado em deter ou em fazer desaparecer a Ferrana de Toro.
But you are being presented with circumstantial evidence. And so far it's pointing to something that the state should inquire, because you have some evidence against you.
And as a follow-up to the circumstantial evidence that you have, don't you think the only conclusion that we can arrive at is that she has disappeared and the state is responsible for that? Is there any other conclusion with the state of play in terms of disappearance of Ms. Ditori?
In turning this court's attention to the first issue, 3 arguments will be made. Firstly, that the Paradillans are not in fact legitimate refugees. The state's refugee camps are at capacity, and the arrest and detention of the Paradillans has not violated their human rights. The state is afforded discretion in the determination of Mr. Bazosa's refugee status.
Counsel, excuse me, I'd like to stay with the Bososo matter. Some say the paramount human right is freedom of expression. Isn't it the case that Mr. Bososo is an activist for what in some quarters is an unpopular cause? And if you couple that with the alleged forced disappearance of a journalist. Don't we have a pattern here of suppression of expression? Come on.
Your Excellencies, the respondent state of Bentaria has demonstrated that it has willfully taken on international human rights obligations, as demonstrated in paragraph 3 of the facts, when it ratified several international human rights instruments. Furthermore, the state takes its obligations very seriously, having opened ourselves up to the scrutiny of this honorable court. Your Excellencies, what seems to be a trial today is the goodwill of an upstanding member of the international community, which has responded in a time of crisis. I'd like to draw the attention of this court to a contrary rule by the European Court of Human Rights that where the facts regarding an enforced disappearance are disputed, the standard of proof must be raised to that beyond reasonable doubt. Your Excellencies, we deny the disappearance of Fran Editori and we deny the involvement of the state. And to that extent...
Council, let me come in there. Are you saying that we are bound by the decision of the European Court?
Much obliged, Your Excellency.
Also, what is the ramification of your acceptance now of Article 2 of the Charter?
Much obliged, Your Excellency. In allowing for this court to sever the reservation made by the respondent state of Bentaria, we are not conceding to the violations. May I please ask for pardon on your other question, Your Excellency?
Council, you are not paying attention.
No, it was a long question, Your Excellency. I beg your indulgence.
Continue with your floor. Continue.
Counsel, may I interrupt you? As I understand the alleged facts, now I think something more than a year has passed and this person has disappeared. There's been no investigation. It is more than suggestive that there was state agency involved. What is your client doing to address this? As far as I understand, they've done nothing.
Much obliged, Your Excellency. Your Excellencies, it is a contention of the respondent state that with regard to the disappearance of Ferran Editori, there was a failure by the applicant to exhaust local remedies as required by Article 56(5). These local remedies were in fact available and sufficient, especially taken with the fact that the state has responded and is willing to be engaged on these allegations. We ask this court to allow Bentaria to be able to carry out a dialogue internally and to address these allegations on a municipal level, Your Excellency, and therefore we ask this court's indulgence.
Thank you. Thank you. Your time is exhausted. You may take your seat. Thank you for your submissions.
Thank you, Your Excellency.
All rise.
We found it quite difficult to agree as to who won. There has to be a winner. But the fact that you participated in the finals is by itself a mark of distinction. It shows that you are also a winner. I congratulate you and wish you a very successful careers.
So I herewith ask our auditor, Mr. Jacko Gillimore, to present us with the results, the runner-up and to the winning team.
Thanks, Franz. This was certainly one of the most closely contested finals that I certainly have marked over the last 10 years. Out of a total, possible total of 300 points, There was only 4 points separating the two teams. The respondent scored 243 and the applicant scored 247.
So we come to the highlight, which is the announcement of the overall winner. We have the best oralists in the competition. Third position, we have Jerome Mpata from Makerere University. In the second position, we have Kiranteba Kutsie from University of Pretoria, South Africa. That means that we have as our winner for the individual best performance in the preliminary rounds, Miss Rachel Mwendwa from the University of Nairobi. And we ask Justice Mwango to present the prize. Thank you very much. Then we ask the runners-up to also step to the front. The Chief Justice and Mayor Chief Justice. The runners-up is
Thank you very much.
Okay, guys. Thank you. Picture.
Thank you. I know it's disappointing, but I think I am okay. I'm worried about. Yeah, I'm also worried about you.
I'll be fine.
You'll be fine. Be fine. Very
Hang on.
I've not gotten a proper explanation. There was actually more who went to tell them, and they had to get the auditors, the score sheets, and I'm still confused.
What is her reason? Can you please explain? Why is she
She's
upset?
upset.
Upset with what? I don't
I think
understand.
just
Because of what?
It's not about us. It's not
Why
about
is she
us.
angry?
Okay, 1 minute. Let me go.
Please go and tell her. This is not about her. This is about the center.
Oh my God.
Give us a minute. Thanks.
So apparently I was the one who had the highest mark in our team. But our names were swapped. So she received the prize of best oralist. So I decided I needed to raise that point. And I was afraid because of the relationship that her and me have. I didn't know how she was going to take it. So I went and did it secretly without her knowing. But then I went and told her I felt bad about it, so I went and told her I have talked to France about the issue. If it happens that I am the best oralist, I will kindly ask you to just give me the plaque. I don't want a photo, I don't want anything, I just want the plaque because it's very important. So they went and checked the system, and they realized that there had been a mishap.
We put blood, sweat, and tears, and well, that's what came out. So I don't think we can answer. We can't say there was a reason. We just maybe our best wasn't good enough.
I think these are the volunteers from the University of Botswana. I remember yesterday one of them saying that their holiday is finally starting now.
Black or gray or dark blue. Don't you like me?
I need a taxi in UB Vegas. UB Vegas to airport.
I know it's the bus. The big bus, yeah.
Yesterday was a very, very hectic day. I saw her in the morning and I am happy for her, I must say that. I really am, but I just don't like the way it went about. Yes.
Food is ready now. I know.
Take you off. Yay!
She's called Solange. She's a couple of weeks now, about 7 weeks, and she's our 4th child. She came in January. So this is going to be our library or office. We're both lawyers, so there's a lot of reading going on in the house. And we thought that this space would be the best.
Of course, there are kids too.
Yeah.
The kids will
If they need to read,
from
they
here.
may be allowed to come up.
Yeah.
Well, I was devastated, of course. I don't think we could have done anything more or worked any harder. But then all of that taught me grace. You have to just, in the moment, be present, be grateful, and understand that you really couldn't have done anything about it. Yes.
The trafficking as per paragraph 5 and the treatment as per paragraph 10 of the facts occurred in the territory of the respondent state.
The time is up. If they take you there, go there. If you need to come back a little, or just tie their question quickly into your arguments.
You still have to revert to the law. Or the best way to
In the Moot, we were African students in this place, and everybody was so excited, and everybody was friendly to each other and interacting with each other. For the older generation, their decisions have already been made, and they already chose their sides. But for us, because we saw that we could live together and work together and win together, as young people, that's the kind of future that we should aspire for ourselves.
Before the Moot, I've had more faith in the idea of African unification, but I have lots of LGBTI friends who are also African, and I feel safe in those spaces because I don't feel as though my African identity is being questioned or undermined. But following that incident, that's going to be something that I am more aware of than I would otherwise have been.
It was definitely tough dealing with it because it happened in such a public space. I mean, perhaps I didn't react to it in the best way, however, but coming back to Kenya, I was able to put it into perspective and to just shelve it away and move into something else productive. I applied for the position of president of the Moot Court Society, and I was appointed as president, which is something that I'm really happy about. I'm heading to court. I am learning a lot, about being a lawyer, making submissions. I see myself venturing into issues relating to human rights, issues relating to refugees. That is where I see myself working on. Sometimes I feel like what is being done is not enough. And as youth, I think it's important that we join that process because we are the future and we are the ones who can make a mark. And I was eating because I ate it and I felt it and I was eating. But I was eating.